A pregnant teenager is missing right now in Massachusetts, and there are a lot of theories swirling right now about what may have happened to her. We're going to cut through the noise to bring you the very latest that we know, and we are going to be speaking with a missing persons investigator about what is happening behind the scenes, what we can expect, what happens next. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have a really distressing story that's happening out east right now. It has been more than a week since 18-year-old Kylee Monteiro was last seen or heard from. Police are using dogs, drones all across Rehoboth, Massachusetts to try to find her, even bringing in a dive team to search a local reservoir. And here's the thing, we're not just talking about a missing teenager. There is growing concern that Kylee, who is around 3 months pregnant, according reportedly to her family, might have met with foul play. And one of the last messages she apparently sent is contributing to the fear that something is really wrong. So first of all, this is one of those cases where you out there can help. If you see something, say something, report it. I'm going to describe Kylee Monteiro to you. She is described as being 6 feet tall, brown hair, brown eyes. According to the Rehoboth police, she was last seen on August 7th wearing a red t-shirt that said "Get Over It" on the front, wearing ripped blue jeans, tan boots. She was spotted near County Street in Rehoboth, that's about 50 miles from Boston. She recently graduated from Attleboro High School, shared several photos and videos of herself in a purple cap, gown, showing off her diploma. She also posted photos of herself all glammed up for prom. And some of those pictures apparently featured her boyfriend and potentially the father of her unborn child. You go on social media and it indicates that his name appears to be Greg Groom. He reportedly lives near Warren Upper Reservoir in Rehoboth, according to Boston 25, and her family says her last known location was at her boyfriend's house. It's believed that Kylee was picking up some of her belongings from his house when she went missing. Now, to be clear, he has not been named a person of interest or suspect in this case, but we'll talk a little bit more about him later on. I will say family members told local Massachusetts outlets ABC6 and WCVB that Kylee had been living at a homeless shelter for pregnant women in Pembroke, Massachusetts, that she and her boyfriend were reportedly in this off-on relationship, that there had been reports of domestic issues. This is according to a post by her sister Kitty on Facebook, that the night before she disappeared, there was allegedly some sort of argument or altercation, although the details on that haven't really been provided at this point. A friend told WCVB that the last time she heard from Kylee, the teen said something was off. Quote, she was like, "I don't feel safe right now. Something's not right. I tried talking with her after that, and she just stopped responding to me after that. I just want her to know that, like, we miss you, and we're not going to stop trying to find you." Kylee also reportedly called several family members, friends, after that argument. You have another sister, Faith Monteiro, says that she offered to pick Kylee up, according to reporting from the Daily Mail, but Kylee seemingly declined. Faith told ABC6, "It's been very difficult. We're very scared. We hope she's okay. This is not like her at all. She would never just disappear. The circumstances don't seem good. It's a lot of speculation. We really don't know what happened." And according to Kylie's social media posts, her childhood wasn't easy. Both of her parents are dead. She recently lost a beloved uncle. She has also posted about bullying that she endured at school. Faith told ABC6 that her sister likely doesn't have enough life experience to survive on her own. So while our thoughts and our prayers are going to the family right now, and we're trying to put her name out there and her image out there for anybody who has information, now I want to get some different perspective. By the way, I know many of you might be true crime fans out there, but is anyone also in a business of some kind? If so, let me ask you something. How much time do you think your business team is just wasting in spreadsheets, chasing down receipts, trying to make sense of endless rows of bank statements? Probably a little too much, right? Well, that is where Odoo Accounting steps in. So Odoo gives users a clean, modern accounting dashboard that shows you exactly what you need: your bank balances, your cash flow, your vendor bills, customer invoices, all in one place. It's intuitive, it's easy to navigate, and for anyone managing their business accounting, It's invaluable. You want to know why Odoo is going to give your business a cutting edge? Well, Odoo uses smart AI with a 98% recognition rate to automatically generate invoices and vendor bills. So all you have to do is just review and validate. That's it. Their bank reconciliation, it's next level. Odoo connects with over 28,000 banks to automatically match your transactions with their financial records to give you pinpoint accuracy. There's no more guesswork. You need reports? Odoo's got everything from your balance sheets, your cash flow statements, professionally formatted, instantly accessible. So if you've been doing all of this accounting work manually, you can stop right now. Automate invoices, vendor bills, accounting workflow with Odoo today. Get a free 15-day trial today at odoo.com/sidebar accounting. Now, loved ones say they hope Kylee just ran away. Maybe she's scared to come home, but there are a lot of indications that something could be seriously wrong here. So to talk about what goes into searches for endangered people, I want to bring in a special guest. I want to bring on an expert in this area, Steve Fischer, who is a missing persons private investigator. Steve, thank you so much for coming on. Now, to be clear, you haven't been involved in the search for Kylee, but I got to get your opinion on this. I got to get your gut reaction when you're hearing about this story. What are some of the things that stand out to you?
Well, 18 years old, pregnant, and a boyfriend that she apparently had some sort of physical confrontation on the 6th, and who has, been silent so far. And her own family and friends have expressed their fear that they have that there could be foul play involved here.
I got to put that aside for a second to ask the question. It sticks out to me. I mentioned this before. There is this concern that she doesn't have survival instincts, that she's so young that if she walked off on her own, she wouldn't know how to take care of herself. Have you dealt with cases like that before, where it's not an instance of foul play, but somebody walks off and, the tragedy of being on their own, something happens?
Absolutely. We see it with mental health cases. We see it with autism, Alzheimer's, things like that. And this could just be a scared teenager that had some sort of confrontation. If she doesn't have those survival instincts, then she's going to go into this hyper fear mode, because now she's caring for her unborn baby as well. And the environment around there, if she's not familiar with it, once you get in those woods, it can get really disorienting. If she, for some reason, went there or was trying to get out of the area and thought she was taking some path, through the woods or shortcut or something.
And just to be clear, we have so little information. We're trying to piece together what exactly is going on here. You got to also wonder, young woman by herself, pregnant, it's a vulnerable target, right? Not of somebody who even would know her, but just in generally speaking, and I'm not speculating about the year. Unfortunately, in the society we live in, she's on by herself out there. That could be a problem.
Absolutely, because if she doesn't have those survival instincts, then she's probably very willing to ask for or accept help, and you don't know who that person may be, and like you said, she's alone and she's vulnerable. There's a lot of options of what could be going on here, and days go on, the hopeful options, the lost or scared and just hiding out or just going off the grid for a few days, unfortunately, those odds are diminishing,
This idea of maybe she's out there, she's fine, not uncomfortable to come forward. Have you seen a case like that before, where after all this press and whatever was going on in her life right beforehand, that would be the best scenario, right? She's fine, she's just scared to come forward, uncomfortable to come forward. I hope that's what's going on, but have you seen a case like that?
I actually have seen it. What happens is these people go missing or don't consider themselves missing, and then also it turns into a huge case. And we saw that in actually the case when the girl was flying from Hawaii to New York and she stopped at LAX and kind of went off and did her own thing, and it turned into this nationwide search. And she didn't even know what was going on. And so it can be a situation like that. She could just be scared to be like, how do I unring this bell? How do I explain this? So that does happen. However, now getting into 8 days, getting a little outside of that time frame.
Yeah, I hear you. But let's say this is the situation. What should be communicated to Kylee if she's watching anything, seeing anything? What are the avenues for her to come forward? And again, I hope that's what the scenario is. What should be communicated to her to feel safe to come forward?
Listen, if you're calling, you've done absolutely nothing wrong. People are just very concerned and looking for you, and these people love you, and there's a search going on, but you're not in any trouble. They're not looking for you because you're in any trouble. They're looking for you just for your own safety. So just call, reach out to any friend, reach out to law enforcement, reach out to, literally anybody, and just explain that you need to get in touch with law enforcement. They will be very, very understanding. I can promise you there's not going to be any negative blowback.
Got to talk about this boyfriend. On again, off again, reported boyfriend. To be clear, has not been named as any sort of person of interest by police or a suspect. But of course, it's pretty standard operating procedure to look at the person, the partner, the significant other when a person goes missing. What do you think investigators are doing behind the scenes? What are they talking about? What are they looking into?
I think that they're probably have this really delicate balance right now going on of wanting to speak with him and without him shutting down completely and requesting a lawyer. So they kind of got to play both sides, like they're, the good cop, bad cop, basically. You kind of play the middle to where you get the information from him. He's not so comfortable that he's comfortable lying to you, but also you don't put enough pressure on him to where he invokes his Miranda rights either. So it's kind of keep him in the middle and hopefully that he's giving you some information, and probably have to be patient with him and hope he trips up on a few things because once they lay into him, he'll probably lawyer up.
Are they looking to corroborate the statements? Are they looking at Google search history? Are they looking at text messages? Are they speaking with friends and family? I mean, what are the limitations? What are they able to do at this point to get a complete picture?
Incident basis, they can get that cell phone data as long as they follow up with the warrant after they get it within 72 hours or so. So I'm sure that on an exigent basis, they have gotten cell data, including location information, probably social media. She appears to be very active on a couple of the social media apps. So probably messaging through there. Any vehicles that he had access to, they probably get a warrant for him. If it has systems like OnStar, anything like that, they'll probably see that drive history. They're going to want to know his movements as well as hers, but both their movements on a GPS basis as, for that 24, 48 hour window. And so I'm sure that they have that data. I'm sure state police and probably being assisted by FBI and others are probably analyzing that.
And by the way, I imagine for investigators, it could be tough when somebody goes missing. You might have family and friends who already jump to conclusions, and I'm not saying that's happening in this case, but something to think about. The information that those closest to the person who's missing, it's invaluable, it's important, but investigators also can't just take it as true, right? They have to corroborate that evidence as well. Does that complicate an investigation when you're dealing with emotions and you're dealing with close family and friends? And maybe I just was the other day, I was talking about all the online chatter about whether or not there's a New England serial killer. Like the public is incredibly helpful, but you also wonder whether certain comments and speculation online, how does that all affect an investigation?
Yeah, sure. So speculation will start really ramping up, but it does. And those people closest to her are the people that are going to be so important. And also, we've learned that she's living at a shelter for young women that are pregnant and or that are homeless. And so there's people there, including probably counselors, that she may be having these conversations with that could have valuable information that they might not even think is that valuable. But there could be these little pieces that could really help investigators tie it all together. And right now, it really is a race. It's about getting that information. You don't have to get super, super detailed, but you need that initial information so you can get searches in the right targeted areas. Because if she's alive, she needs to be found right away at, the time frame we're at now.
There has been a lot of agencies involved in this search so far: local, state police, search dogs, divers, drones, helicopters. How have these tools changed when it comes to the searches for missing people? How have they evolved over time? How thorough are these searches?
They're excellent tools. So for the canines, what they could do is they could get a scent article of hers, which they probably get from the shelter she's staying at, and then they can, if they believe that she was at, say, the boyfriend's property, they can track that. They can pick up a scent. They can track it, and where it ends, they can, then try to pick up that scent at locations. So, they're great for that. They're not just for actually finding the person, but the canines are great for figuring out if they got into vehicles or if they tracked off the property or whatever it may be. And then you got drones, you got thermal drones, because it's wooded areas. Of course, the key people here are going to be like the cell phone analysis teams, which FBI has got amazing people at. Those are going to be the people that are super important.
If they haven't found her, what does that mean?
Well, it's obviously it's not good, and
Because you basically described how extensive these search efforts are.
they got divers in the water. But that also kind of shows what their thinking is, because, it seems to be targeted to a pretty certain area, and they do seem to be focused on the water. They have divers in there. They also have search and rescue members that are wading through waters, with probing poles. So it seems to me like they think that likely could be an option. But listen, it's not good here, I don't think, right now. We're hoping for a miracle, and I think the family understands this because they've expressed that as well, but kind of bracing for the worst. And listen, these people, the state police, local police, search and rescue, these are people that are amazing at what they do. And I really think in the next day or two, we're going to have some solid answers. I think that she will be found one way or another.
Do you think that this is going to rely on the public's health? Because they're saying anybody with any information, especially, by the way, any surveillance footage of that county street area, they're asked to contact law enforcement. Is that what we're dealing with now? We need the public's help. And how does law enforcement sort through all the tips that come in or all the information that comes in?
Yeah, so surveillance is going to be really key here. So it's going to be like license plate readers, town safety surveillance systems, but people's individual ring cams or whatever type of Nest, whatever they have, people can go and review that. If they can put her in a certain location, then that becomes the new place last seen, which is the most important thing in search and rescue. That's where everything centers around. That's where the command center would move to. So it's going to be very important. There's always so much noise, though, in this, because a lot of, listen, people want to help, and you get a lot of false tips, which is not a bad thing. You don't have to discouraging people from sending in legitimate tips, but there's a lot of noise to filter through in these cases. So I guarantee people reviewing surveillance that they've had sent to them, plus they have teams out there looking for surveillance. It'd be trail cams, things that might not be traditionally, people think of. There can be, leads there.
So, you mentioned it before. We've been talking about it throughout. She is reportedly around 3 months pregnant. When we talk about that, what impact does that have in terms of the investigation, the search? Because it's not just about Kylee, there's someone else there too.
Yeah, so Massachusetts is a state where if a homicide occurred, a person can be charged for the unborn child in Massachusetts as well. So that's something that, they're looking for two people, I think, as far as the law goes. And so if something happened to her, it also happened to the baby. But, it's just as important if she's alive too, because if she is and she's in some duress situation, then she needs medical assistance, not just for her but for that baby as well, at 11 or 12 weeks old. So it's a big thing, and it's her age coupled with being very vulnerable, not having the tools to survive on her own like her family's suggested, and also being pregnant. It's gonna get all the agencies involved.
Let's just talk a little bit more about online and social media. So we checked out Kylie's TikTok account, where she's been very active, posting several times a day. You mentioned it, but there haven't been any new videos since August 6th, so the day before her disappearance. And in that video, she apparently posted a photo of herself with the caption, "I don't care what people think about me." Steve, how critical is that? How critical is social media going to be in the search, the investigation?
Yeah, so especially now, as we all know, the younger generation, everything seems to be based around social media. So when a person's presence drops off a cliff on social media, it's a real concern. It's almost an addiction level, and we see it in so many cases where you just know that the person wouldn't have that ability to withhold from posting. So it's scary. And also, they express all their emotions online. And I can't say this 100% certain, but from what I've seen, it looks like the boyfriend has also deleted or privated his social media, so that's concerning as well. It's a big thing here, and that's something that investigators, I'm absolutely sure, on an exigent basis have requested, to see if there's any DMing going on behind the scenes, to see if there's actually anybody logging into that account, which would show proof that she could be alive, or message history that may have been deleted, which the companies can pull that still. So even though you've deleted messages, there's a certain amount of time they can recover it. So I think that they'll probably have already accessed those accounts.
And by the way, talking about social media, family members, they've posted on social media that anyone interested in helping with the search, they need to make sure that they're part of an official law enforcement-led search party
Yeah.
when they're announced. Why is that so important?
Well, so there's kind of two schools of thoughts on this. And in a case where there is a very good chance, and this is one of those, that there's foul play involved, I think this is a situation where the public, as much as they want to help, it's best to lay back because everything's evidence at this point. That's why, when you're seeing the video of the people out searching in the woods and stuff, you're mostly seeing sworn law enforcement officers. You're not seeing the people in the orange, search and rescue gear. That's because everything's being treated. Anything they find will be evidence at this point. And if the public is out there and handling it, then it becomes, defense attorneys are going to go after that, and it's going to be exclusionary, and it could create a whole host of problems. So now, in a case where foul play is not suspected after about a week, I think it's good for the public to get in and help with the search. More eyeballs, the better, because it's a race against the clock for a person's life. But in this, the odds are so heavily in favor of foul play that I do think the public should, unless you're actual member of that search and rescue team or asked to come in to assist by law enforcement, I do think it's best to stay out of it.
Steve Fischer, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.